Hey there, lovely listeners. Welcome back to Down to Earth Science, where we break down complex environmental science into down to earth chat that everyone can understand. Today, we are looking at how essential elements like carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus move around between living things and the earth environment. And we're talking about soil, air, water, in this continuous loop that ensures that life thrives by reusing these vital resources. Now, imagine it as nature's way of recycling crucial ingredients to support all living organisms on our planet. A process with the fancy name biogeochemical flows. That's another planetary boundary, and I promise not to put you to sleep. So let's break it down, shall we? We're focusing on two big players today: nitrogen and phosphorus. Now, these are like the VIP nutrients for plants and animals, including you, and of course, myself. And first up, let's look at nitrogen. Now, imagine it as that friend who can sit still and it's always changing forms. It's in the air, the soil, and it's even in our DNA. But here's the twist. We humans, with our love for farming, have been giving plants a bit too much of this nitrogen. It's like giving your plants a triple espresso shot every morning. That's definitely an overkill. Now, there's a second one, phosphorus. This one is literally a rock star, because it comes from rocks and doesn't float around in the air like our body nitrogen. But we've been mining and using it so much that our rivers and lakes are getting a phosphorus overload. You know how we are humans, with our innovative yet sometimes messy ways. We have been playing around with these biogeochemical flows in several ways, such as our love for lush green lawns, those green lawns that you see here and there. Those perfect patches of grass that look like they belong on the golf course. Well, to get them that green, we often use a ton of fertilizers. And when it rains, these fertilizers are just washed off into our water systems. Then there's our addiction to laundry, and don't get me wrong, who doesn't love fresh, clean clothes? But many of these detergents have phosphates, and these little guys can end up in our waterways. So maybe it's time to reconsider that wash after one wear policy that is currently ruling your wardrobe. Now, what happens when we mess with nature's way of recycling these essential elements? Too much nitrogen and phosphorus in water can turn it into an all-you-can-eat buffet, shall we say, for those tiny, mostly green water plants that can grow almost anywhere there's water. I'm talking about algae. Now, a little bit of algae is okay, but too much of it can harm or kill other living things. It can make the water unpleasant or unsafe, and even in some instances disrupt the balance of the ecosystem. One way this can happen is a thick layer of algae on the surface of a pond or lake can block sunlight, making it hard for other plants in the water to get the light they need to grow. Number two, when algae dies, bacteria go straight to work on breaking them down, and this process uses up a lot of oxygen in the water. This therefore means that fish and other aquatic life that would need oxygen to survive would just suffocate and oftentimes die. Number three, some types of algae produce harmful substances called toxins that can be harmful to fish, animals, and even humans, making the water obviously unsafe. And then algae can make the water smell and taste bad, which is not pleasant for people who would want to just get a quick dip and even use water for other purposes. But if the algae situation is not as scary as I think it is, I have to add that too much nitrogen can also give our planet a bit of a fever by adding to global warming. So we've got some cleaning up to do as a species. But fear not, we've got tips for you. Yes, you sitting there in your comfy chair or maybe jogging with your earbuds in. The first thing to look at is you have to mind your gardens. Choose organic, slow-releasing fertilizers that would release nutrients slowly, thereby reducing the possibility of runoffs. Secondly, use eco-friendly detergents. Every time you buy detergents, just check the label and choose phosphate-free detergents. Trust me, your cloth will still be clean and our waterways will thank you. Next, reduce, reuse, recycle. Now, this familiar phrase is not just a catchy phrase. By reducing waste, especially plastics, we can decrease the amount of trash that ends up in landfills. And these plastics often release harmful chemicals into the soil and water. Also, you can support sustainable farming. Buy local and organic when you can. These farming methods tend to be kinder to the earth and don't mess up with our nutrient cycles as much. And then finally, educate and advocate. Talk to your friends and family about these things. The more people know, the more they can make informed choices. And hey, maybe even start a community garden or a local cleanup event. So, there you have it, folks. Next time you hear biogeochemical flows, don't just zone out. Remember, it's all about Earth's recycling system, and we've all got a part to play in keeping it running smoothly. We might have gotten ourselves into a bit of a pickle with these biogeochemical flows, but with a little bit of effort and awareness, we can certainly pickle our way out of it. You see what I did there? Pickle our way out of it. We can farm smarter, treat our waterways better, and maybe just maybe let our plants have their coffee in moderation. And of course, keep talking about it, just like we're doing now. Knowledge is power, and power can lead to change. And so, that's it for today's episode. Keep being awesome, keep being green, and remember, every small action counts. Down to Earth Science is served up by yours truly, Onoja Simeon, an ordinary guy who nerded out so hard he got a PhD in environmental sciences only to realize a massive gap between the science and the street. So here I am, your friendly neighborhood science translator, turning jargons into jokes and facts into fun. Together, let's bridge that gap, one like, one share, one subscription, and one love at a time. Shout out to bensound.com for the sciencey groovy tunes, and please don't forget to hit us on X, and I think that's Twitter, at DTE Science Onoja, and on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Down to Earth Science with Onoja. For the Seeing is Believing crowd, hit our YouTube channel and you'll see some killer visuals that will make you go, oh, now I get it. Hasta la vista, my grand people, and catch you on the digital flip side.